I found out my mother was my high school classmate, and I am not talking about a movie plot or a strange dream. I am talking about a cold, calculated, and terrifying reality where my own mother wore a wig, fake glasses, and a teenager's wardrobe to sit 3 desks behind me in my AP English class for an entire semester just to stalk my every move. Imagine the psychological trauma of realizing that the best friend you've been crying to about your overbearing mom is actually that very same woman, hiding in plain sight, recording your secrets and infiltrating your life like a professional spy. My entire world shattered the moment I saw a familiar birthmark on Lexi's neck during a group project, and honestly, the level of betrayal is so deep I don't think I can ever call her mom again. I ended up exposing her in the most humiliating way possible in front of the entire school. And now I'm being called a villain by my own family for ruining her life. Was I wrong for nuking her reputation to save my sanity? Or would you have done the exact same thing if you realized your parent was a literal stalker? To understand how things got this dark, you have to understand my mother, Sarah. She has always been the kind of person who couldn't handle the idea of me growing up. To her, I wasn't a daughter. I was a possession, a second chance at her own youth. She's 42 but looks like she's in her late 20s, something she's always been disturbingly proud of. When I started my junior year at Oak Ridge High, the tension at home was at an all-time high. I wanted independence, I wanted to go to parties, and most importantly, I wanted to apply to colleges on the other side of the country. My mom's reaction wasn't just sadness, it was a quiet, simmering rage. She started acting distant, claiming she had landed a high-stakes remote marketing job that required her to be out in the field all day. I was so relieved to have her out of my hair that I didn't ask questions. Then a new girl named Lexi joined our class. She was the definition of blending in. Oversized hoodies, a beanie pulled low over her eyes, and thick-rimmed glasses that obscured half her face. She was shy, awkward, and told everyone she had just moved from a tiny town in Oregon. Because she seemed so lost, the teacher paired us up for a semester-long project on the Great Gatsby. I felt a genuine connection with her. Lexi became my shadow. We spent every lunch together, every study session, and I felt like I had finally found a sister I never had. I told Lexi things I'd never dared to say out loud. About my secret boyfriend, my plan to move away the second I turned 18, and how much I felt suffocated by my mother's crazy behavior. Lexi would just listen, her eyes hidden behind those lenses, occasionally whispering, "Are you sure your mom is that bad? Maybe she just loves you more than anyone else could." It felt like a safe space, but in reality, I was walking straight into a trap. The deception lasted for 4 agonizing months. During this time, my life felt like a series of impossible coincidences. If I told Lexi I was planning to sneak out to a bonfire, my mom would randomly decide to lock all the doors and sit in the living room all night. If I told Lexi I had a crush on a guy named Tyler, my mom would find a reason to call Tyler's parents to discuss a school project she made up. I was spiraling into paranoia, thinking my phone was bugged or that I was losing my mind. The stress was eating me alive, and the only person I felt I could turn to was Lexi. One afternoon, we were in the back of the library, the sun hitting the table just right. Lexi reached up to adjust her heavy beanie, and for a split second, her hair shifted. Right there, on the side of her neck, was a heart-shaped birthmark. My heart stopped. It wasn't just a similar mark. It was the exact mark I had seen on my mother every single day of my life. I looked down at Lexi's hands. The same small scar on her thumb from a gardening accident. The same way her pinky curved. I felt a wave of cold horror wash over me. The girl sitting next to me, the girl I had shared my soul with, was the woman I was trying so hard to escape. She had used her background in community theater and professional makeup to turn herself into a teenager. And she had been sitting in my classes, listening to my teachers, and watching me like a predator. I didn't say a word. I just packed my bags and ran. I spent the next 6 hours sitting in a dark parking lot, shaking, realizing that my mother had essentially murdered the trust between us for a chance to play spy. So that is the level of absolute madness I was living in. My own mother had committed identity fraud, trespassed on school grounds, and gaslit me for months just to keep me under her thumb. Before I reveal the explosive way I decided to end her little game, and the legal chaos that followed, I want you to stop and comment below. What would you do? Would you have confronted her in the kitchen that night? Or would you have waited to humiliate her the way she humiliated your privacy? Tell me in the comments if you think she deserves a second chance, or if this is unforgivable. I decided that a quiet confrontation wasn't enough for the trauma she caused. If she wanted to be a student so badly, I was going to give her a final exam she'd never forget. The next day was the fall pep rally, the biggest event of the semester. The entire school was packed into the gymnasium, teachers, students, and even some local press. I saw Lexi sitting in the bleachers, looking at me with that fake, sympathetic smile. When the principal opened the floor for student announcements, I grabbed the microphone. My voice didn't shake. I looked directly at the third row and said, I want to introduce everyone to a very special student. Her name is Lexi, and she's been a great friend to me. But I think it's time we all see who Lexi really is. I walked straight over to her. The cameras were rolling for the school's live stream. Before she could move, I grabbed the edge of that synthetic wig and ripped it off her head in one violent motion. Her real hair tumbled down. Her glasses fell off, and the entire gym went silent as they realized they weren't looking at a 16-year-old girl, but a 42-year-old woman. I screamed at her. Why are you here, Mom? Is my life not enough for you? Do you have to steal mine too? The chaos was instantaneous. Teachers ran over, students started chanting, and my mom just sat there, her face a mask of pure, pathetic terror. The police were called because, as it turns out, enrolling in a high school under a fake name is a crime. She was let out in handcuffs, still wearing her cool teen hoodie, while the entire world watched. The aftermath was a total nuclear explosion. My mom was charged with trespassing and tampering with public records. She lost her job, her reputation, and her mind. My aunts and uncles have been blowing up my phone, calling me cruel and heartless for shaming her publicly. They say she did it out of love and that she was just worried about me. But where was the love when she was lying to my face for 120 days? Where was the love when she made me feel like I was going insane? I moved out that night and haven't looked back. I'm currently living with a friend and working 2 jobs to save for a college she'll never have the address to. She sends me letters from her court-mandated therapy sessions, but I burn them without opening them. I don't have a mother anymore. I have a cautionary tale. This experience taught me that the people who claim to love you the most can sometimes be the most dangerous people in your life. It taught me that boundaries aren't just suggestions, they are survival tools. If you think I was right to expose her, and that she got exactly what she deserved, like this video right now. If you think I went too far by involving the police and the whole school, tell me why in the comments. I need to know if I'm the monster everyone says I am. Subscribe for more stories of betrayal and family secrets that sound like movies, but are terrifyingly real. And please, share your final thoughts on this nightmare below. I'll see you all in the next story.